Welcome back to the Let's Learn Angular series. This is episode number 4, and this series is where I record myself learning Angular in real time so that you can watch me stumble and struggle and figure out things on my own, and hopefully that's valuable to you. And in the last video, we set up the list component, or not really a list component, but I guess we set up our list of heroes in the Tour of Heroes tutorial that we've been following along with. And in doing so, we learned about the ng-for, which is a way to loop in Angular. We learned about the ng-if to conditionally render some data just in case something isn't there. And what was the other thing? Dynamically adding classes to an element. Don't remember exactly what the terminology is in Laravel. I think we had it written down here, right? Let's go down to our notes. Class binding. Simple enough. I think that's what it's called in React and Vue as well. So with all of that said, let's we'll jump into the tutorial over here where we left off. Where were we? Create a feature component. And before we dive into that, I'm just going to jump into VS Code here quick. And I'm just realizing before I ended off that last video, I did forget to make a commit. So we're going to do that in just a second. I'm going to reserve the app. So it's ng-serve -- open. And there it is. Now we're serving our app. This is where we left off yesterday. You can click a hero and the details pop in here. We still got that two-way data binding, right? And clicking. This is that class binding working, which is set based on whichever the current selected hero is. If you remember from the last video, that happens with our click event handler. So as we're looping through, we just check to see if the one that we're about to render is also the same hero as the one that's currently selected, which allows us to dynamically add that CSS class called selected, and we got some styles to make it stand out. Cool, so I got that going. I did mention I forgot to make a commit, so let's just do that quick. I should have been committing more along the way, because it looks like we added, I guess, a few things, but pretty much what we did was, how do I want to word this? I guess we show hero details on click. I think kind of sums it up enough. Not perfect, but that's okay. I'm gonna close that out of the way, and we're just gonna jump back into this tutorial. Okay, so create a feature component is the third section of this tutorial here. So at the moment, the heroes component displays both the list of heroes and the selected heroes details. Keeping all features in one component as the application grows will not be maintainable. Go figure. You'll want to split up large components into smaller sub-components, each focused on a specific task. Pardon me. Specific task or workflow. That was a learning objective, more or less. I worded it a little bit differently, but what do we have here? Just, using components inside other components, basically just being able to break up an Angular application into smaller pieces. So it looks like we're going to have that one checked off today. So where was I here? In this page, you'll take the first step in that direction by moving the hero details into a separate reusable hero detail component. The heroes component... Sorry about that. Let me just reread that last paragraph there. So the heroes component will only present the list of heroes. The hero detail component will present details of a selected hero. So yeah, let's move on to make the hero detail component. So use the Angular CLI to generate a new component named hero detail. I'm going to try to do that from memory instead of copying it, just for the sake of practice. Let's jump into our terminal. I'm going to need a new one. And let's, what is it? ng generate component, but ours is going to be called the hero-detail, I believe it told us to call the component hero detail. So let's generate that, and we'll just take a look-see at what it gave us over here. So just like the last time, it updated our, let me close the terminal so that this is not so busy. Yeah, just like last time, it updated our app module, brought in our hero detail component that was generated and put it underneath the declarations, generated a blank CSS file for us, which there should also be a template file with just a little paragraph tag in there. And then our main, oh, sorry, this is actually just the spec file that it generates, which we haven't really gotten into yet, testing Angular. But this is the component that got generated automatically, gave us a selector with a pretty sensible name, and then linked up our component template, our component template and our component style sheet. And I'll just make that a commit, so we'll just say generate hero detail component. Close that and close that. Back into our tutorial. So the command scaffolds the following: creates a directory at source/app/hero detail, which we saw. Inside that directory, 4 files are generated, which we just went over. The command also adds the hero detail component as a declaration in the ng module decorator of the source/app/app.module.ts file, which we also just looked at. Write the template. Cut the HTML for the hero detail from the bottom of the hero's component template and paste it over the generated boilerplate in the hero detail component template. So let's go and find our heroes component template, which is here, and we're gonna cut this details section, and then we'll go over to our new hero details component template, which is this one, and I will paste it over top of this. So get rid of that. Get rid of that paragraph tag. And then obviously none of this stuff is going to exist yet, but I'm sure the tutorial is about to explain that. Okay, so the pasted HTML refers to a selected hero. The new hero detail component can present any hero, not just a selected hero. So replace selected hero with just hero everywhere in the template. Okay, so in VS Code, the easiest way to do that is just F2 and just say hero and hit enter. Although it seems like, I don't know if there's maybe a plugin that does a better job at this, but it doesn't seem like you can do that in Angular templates just out of the box with VS Code. That's okay. So I'll just select this and then Control or Command D to grab all of these, and then I'll just replace all of them with just hero instead of selected hero. Yeah, so we need to, well, what's next? So when you're done, hero detail component template should look like this, which is, yeah, that's pretty much exactly what ours looks like. I'm guessing this is actually going to be what I called props in our learning objectives. Basically a way, because we're gonna need a way to like pass a hero into this template, right? So I'm assuming that this is how that works. So add the @input hero property. The hero detail component template binds to the component's hero property, which is of type hero. Open the hero detail component class file and import the hero symbol. So we'll go over here and actually, so a thing that I discovered just sort of off camera with that, oh, sorry. Right, so where was I? So there is a extension that I installed, that Angular one in a previous video, just called the Angular Language Service. So anyway, that gives you this go to component button here whenever you're on a template, which is a really handy way to jump into the component. And sorry, I forgot what I was about to do. All right, we're gonna import the hero type. All right, so we're gonna do from is it dot slash hero, I believe. So if very cool. And not having these things format automatically for me is starting to drive me a little crazy, so I'll probably have to fix that at some point, or maybe not. I don't know. So we import that. The next thing is the hero property must be an input property, annotated with the @input decorator, because the external heroes component will bind to it like this. So this is, I guess, is what we call data binding in Angular, or I'm not sure exactly what they call this syntax, but call it binding. So yeah, we'll pull in our new component. Think of this as an input, or like I just get stuck on the terminology of props. So we're just saying that this thing takes a prop called hero, or I guess an input called hero, and it's going to be whatever the selected hero is in our main hero list, right? So I might be getting ahead of myself, but let's focus on that input decorator. So it's saying amend the Angular core import statement to include the input symbol, and then we can add a hero property preceded by the input decorator like that. So if I go back to our hero component after on init, we can say input. And then, if I go down here, we could say at input like that. We just call it hero of type hero. Is that... it does have to be optional though, because it can be undefined. I think that was all we had to do for that. And that's the only change you should make to the hero detail component class. There are no more properties. There's no presentation logic. This component only receives a hero object through its hero property and displays it. And yeah, I mean, I'm assuming I know how to do the next part, but let's just read it through anyway. Show the hero detail component. The heroes component used to display the hero details on its own before you removed that portion of the template. This section guides you through delegating logic to the hero detail component. Oh wait, hang on a second. The heroes component used to display the hero's detail on its own. Oh yeah, okay, sorry. I thought maybe it was assuming that we actually added this already, but I think this it's not. So let's go through. So the two components will have a parent-child relationship. The parent heroes component will control the child hero detail component by sending it a new hero to display whenever the user selects a hero from the list. You won't change the heroes. Oh, whoops. Keep hitting this side button on my mouse and it just goes, woo. Where were we? Here, right? You won't change the heroes component class, but you will change its template. So update the heroes component template. Here we go. The hero detail component selector is app hero detail. Add an app hero detail element near the bottom of the heroes component template where the hero detail view used to be. And then we bind the heroes component selected hero attribute to the elements hero property like this. So this is basically what we're going to do. And I am going to type it out just to get the hands-on practice. So if we go to our heroes component and we go where we used to render our details, we're gonna use our new app hero detail component. And remember, that's available to us because of the that app module, right? We're importing hero detail component and we're declaring it here. That's why we can use it here. And so then I think the syntax for passing a property was these square brackets. So we'll just say selected hero, which is available to us because on the hero component, selected hero is a property on the class. So if I go back here, we're going to say the selected hero is going to equal, the prop on this component is called hero, but the value that we're going to pass in from our heroes component is called selected hero. So it would look like this. I'm just going to double check with the tutorial to make sure I got that right. Looks like I did. And so yeah, this whole thing is what we call an Angular property binding. I'm gonna take note of that just to make sure I am keeping track of like Angular terminology. So if we go here, property binding, property binding is when we pass a value as a quote unquote prop from one component to another. Okay, back to the tutorial. It's a one-way data binding from the selected hero property. I guess that's worth mentioning too. This is what's called a one-way data binding. Okay, it's a one-way data binding from the selected hero property of the hero's component to the hero property of the target element, which maps to the hero property of the hero detail component. Now, when the user clicks a hero in the list, the selected hero changes. I forgot to check to see if this is like rendering properly. So let's click this. Very cool. So everything is working exactly the same way as it was before, but we've refactored it so that instead of having all the logic in one component split out into two, which is really cool. And that does remind me, jump back into Notion. And I think there's at least one learning objective we can check off here, right? So we used a component inside of another component. We could almost say that we're handling state across multiple components, but that, I think, yeah, I mean, that's basically how you do it. But I was more thinking across components, not from the parent to the child. That's more like prop drilling, this is what we got here, which I'm just gonna note Angular refers to these as properties, but I'm sure everybody knows what you mean when you say prop, so it's probably not that important. Cool. Yeah, and then quick note. So you might be wondering, like, if you're following along with this, your app might look more like this, right? Closer to that, maybe. Yeah, the reason is I have my resolution set so that everything is just like blown up really big. So if you're watching this on like a smaller screen, you can see everything nicely, or maybe you're watching this on like a TV and you're like far away. I do that a lot. I watch TV either laying in bed or just like from the kitchen, and I'll be trying to watch coding videos and I can't see anything. So that's why everything is blown up so much. But anyway, let's go back to here, to the tutorial. Now, when the user clicks a hero in the list, yeah, we read that already. So the revised heroes component template should look like this, and that's what mine looks like. Looks like we're almost done. This one was much faster than the last video. Okay, so the browser refreshes and the application starts working again as it did before. We already saw that. So what changed? As before, whenever a user clicks on a hero name, the hero detail appears below the hero list. Now that the hero detail component is presenting those details instead of the heroes component, So yeah, refactoring the original heroes component into 2 components yields benefits both now and in the future. Wow, so we are just future-proofing our application here. Incredible stuff. You reduced the heroes component responsibilities. And of course, I'm being sarcastic because this is such a simple application, but this is obviously, like, this is important to know. You can evolve the hero detail component into a rich hero editor without touching the parent heroes component. You can evolve the heroes component without touching the hero detail view. And you can reuse the hero detail component in the template of some future component. All good things, all things that we want to accomplish in our code bases. So we got the final code review down here. I love that they put these at the end of every section. When you're following along and you run into any snags, this is pretty much what unblocks you so that you can just continue on. Because it's easy if you're kind of typing everything out yourself, you miss some mundane detail. But seeing as our app compiles and everything works the way I expected, I can only assume I've been getting everything right so far. So let's go on. So let's summarize what we did. We created a separate reusable hero detail component. Again, that was one of our learning objectives, so that feels great. We used property binding to give the parent heroes component control over the child hero detail component. And we learned about a new decorator, the input decorator, to make the hero property available for binding by the external heroes component. So yeah, that's awesome. We are doing much better for time than the last one. Guys, thank you so much for watching and following along with me. Don't forget to hit that like button down below if you like this video, and if you want to see more, feel free to subscribe. You can also follow me on Twitter. I'm Dan Fletcher Dev, and once in a while I stream on Twitch under the username The Original Fletch. Thanks again for watching. I will see you in the next video. Okay, bye.